Stop sabotaging your trading. The 6 million-year-old secret to market mastery. Psychology Deep Dive. Welcome to the deepest dive you will ever take into market strategy. Forget the charts for 1 minute. Put down the indicators. This video is not about what you trade. It's about who is trading. If you are here, you've hit a wall. You have the system. You have the edge. But when the markets move, your discipline vanishes like smoke, leaving you confused, frustrated, and, let's be honest, broke. I am giving you my solemn promise and my absolute trust right now. Every single minute you spend here is an investment that will pay off more than a decade of chasing the next magical indicator. Keep watching until the very end, because the greatest obstacle to your success is not out there in the market. It's right here, inside your mind. We are going to expose the great market lie, the idea that you can control the outcome, and we're going to give you the operational manual for the single piece of equipment you bring to the market that is completely unfit for the job, your 6 million-year-old brain. This isn't a pep talk. This is an entirely new framework for thinking, executing, and mastering the self, built on the proven methods of top performance coaches in the world. Before we unravel the caveman in your cockpit, hit that like button to tell the algorithm you're ready for true wisdom, and subscribe so you don't miss the next stage of your journey to becoming a consistently profitable trader. Let's begin. The number one psychological problem for every trader is simple. The brain you brought into trading is fundamentally unfit to manage the conditions of trading. We are wired for the African savanna. We are wired for survival in the moment. Think about it. When your ancestors looked out of their cave, every decision was binary: threat or no threat. They were dealing with certainty or the illusion of it. If you saw a saber-toothed tiger, you didn't run a probability model, you experienced a catastrophic, immediate threat. This ancient, instinctual brain makes 95% of your daily decisions, and it doesn't understand the difference between risk and threat to life. Risk is calculated. It's the conscious decision to cross a busy road at a crosswalk with the probability of an accident low. You manage the risk by looking both ways. Threat is immediate and irrational. It's that second your foot slips while hiking on a cliff edge. Your heart pounds, your mind goes blank, and your entire body is seized by the panic of survival. Now bring that threat response to trading. Imagine a new trader, Sarah, who risks her carefully calculated 1% on a futures contract. The trade goes against her, approaching her preset stop loss. The market isn't a tiger, but what does her primitive brain feel? It sees the stop loss as the saber-toothed tiger getting closer. To the caveman mind, losing capital is the equivalent of being ejected from the tribe, a death sentence. So Sarah's instinctual brain, hijacked by the threat, screams, "Don't lose! Abort! Move the stop!" In a millisecond, she moves her stop loss just a few ticks away, violating her rule. She believes she is saving her capital, but she is in fact guaranteeing her future failure. She has been emotionally hijacked. The small, manageable risk became an irrational, outsized threat, turning her into a gambler, not a strategist. The market is a game of probability, not certainty. Yet we are wired to believe we can control the outcome. Why? Because outside of trading, you do control a lot. In the business mindset, if you put in 100 hours, you expect a profitable outcome. If you build a superior product and execute a flawless marketing plan, you will succeed. You control the variables. In the trading mindset, you can execute a flawless, high-probability strategy, but the next tick is still random. The next 10 trades could all be losers. Your performance is perfect, but the outcome is loss. That's why trying to force your business mind onto trading blows up in your face. This leads us to the most dangerous personality type in trading, the alpha. I have seen brilliant, successful, high-status entrepreneurs lose everything in the market. Why? Because the rewards they seek are not just money, they are status, power, and mattering. The alpha who took down the woolly mammoth got first dibs on the food and leadership. That is hardwired into your motivation. Consider a successful serial entrepreneur who had made millions building and selling companies. He was a master of control. He came to trading with multi-million-dollar capital, believing it was simply a capital-intensive business. 4 years later, he had made no money. He eventually realized, I am not willing to give up control. I am really good at control, and I have to give up control. He was a great entrepreneur, but he simply couldn't accept the chaotic, unpredictable reality of the market. It's like trying to apply the rules of large particle physics onto the microscopic world of quantum mechanics. The rules are different, and forcing the wrong rules leads to an explosion. You want to succeed in this industry, whether you trade Forex, crypto, options, or futures, you must become an accomplished loser. This means protecting your nickels and dimes, making your losses as small as possible, and waiting patiently for the 1 or 2 moments where your edge works perfectly and you put a leader on it that goes into orbit. This is a business model that very few people know about. Trading is a solitary performance art. The internal committee of your mind is constantly being hijacked by beliefs you absorbed unconsciously. Consider the trader who came from a blue-collar family where his father consistently railed against executives who made too much money, saying, "Nobody's worth $1 million." That trader built a high 6-figure account, but every time he crossed the $1 million mark, that unwritten, inherited barrier of his self-worth, he would unconsciously sabotage himself, lose money, and lose back down to the 600,000s. He did this for 10 years. He was forcing his will against a deep, foundational belief about his own monetary worth. What are your limiting beliefs? The fear of losing status? This is what you must heal with compassion, not with a tough guy attitude. Emotion is not the enemy. It is the bedrock of your thinking. All thinking is emotional state dependent. You don't have emotions, they have you. Greed, for example, has a bad rap. If you didn't have greed, you wouldn't be motivated to seek better outcomes and make things happen. But unmanaged greed, combined with a belief in scarcity, dominates the committee of the mind. Think of managing greed like managing a powerful horse. You don't want to shoot the horse, you want to harness its power and steer it with discipline. The goal is to develop an emotional cocktail that allows for high-level performance. Shame is also critical. Shame says the way you're currently organized is not working for the good of the whole. You need to reorganize yourself. I once led my wife into a business debacle that cost us millions. I felt nothing but shame. I was a failure. But in that moment, when I faced the shame, I realized my true purpose wasn't the wealth. It was to help people grow and escape the confinement of their self-limiting beliefs. The failure and the shame ended up reorganizing me into a much higher functioning self. If you have failure in trading, it is not saying there's something wrong with you. It is saying your competency needs to be looked at and changed. But then you finally master your fear. You become consistently profitable, and you think, I've got it. This is when the second demon steps onto the road, success. When you start winning, you get a hit of dopamine, the neurological equivalent of cocaine. You become euphoric, and you start thinking, everything's going to turn out fine. This exhilaration screws up a perfectly good trading mind. Advanced trading scenario. A seasoned day trader hits an incredible winning streak, making 5R in 3 days. They have the money, they have the status. They get that dopamine high. The next trade sets up, but it's a marginal setup, one they would normally skip. But the euphoric brain says, I'm invincible, I'll double the size. The small loss turns into a catastrophic loss that wipes out half the week's gains. This is the ultimate lesson. You never have it. What you have is a system that is able to hack the ancient brain for periods of an hour or so, and then you must take care of yourself again. Mastery is not a destination. It is a systematic programming of your mind. You must intervene in emotions before they hijack your cognitive mind. The simplest, most powerful skill is diaphragmatic breathing in the presence of challenge. When you tense up and stop breathing, you are accelerating your emotion into fight or flight. If you're caught in heavy traffic, your heart races, that's the ancient panic. But if you breathe with the panic and do not fight it, the entire emotional chemistry will be gone. Your first assignment: get a mirror or point a camera at yourself while trading. Notice the tension in your face, your shoulders, your fists, and notice that you're not breathing. Now, breathe deeply from the diaphragm. You are reasserting control over your internal state. For the advanced trader, use a heart rate monitor. As you trade, you will see it bouncing around wildly. As you consciously use diaphragmatic breathing, you will watch your heart rate go down. You are actively aligning your physiological state with the optimal trading mind. Your thoughts are not the same. Your mind is a cacophony, a committee in mutiny. The goal of mindfulness is to wake up the observer, the CEO of your company. You have voices in your head: the orphan, the inner critic, the fearmonger. The observer steps back. It is not personal. It is just like watching a bad reality television show. You hear voices? Congratulations, you're not crazy. But you are crazy to ignore them. This leads to second-order metacognition, an observer observing the observer. You notice you are anxious. Then you ask, why is the observer anxious? Because the loss is triggering an ancient, learned fear of scarcity. The fear is historical, not based on my current risk. By catching the emotion before it builds up physically, you realize you have been given the gift of being captain of your own destiny. We all have heroic qualities, archetypes living within us. They were pushed down so we could survive our environment. Now you must pull them forward. The ruler exemplifies discipline and the ability to maintain order under pressure. Find your symbol, the Roman centurion, Winston Churchill, or a disciplined figure in your life. Use method acting. Find the essence of that discipline. Learn to feel it in your body. When you feel the urge to overtrade, stop. Picture your ruler. Activate the emotional chemistry of order. This feeling alters the way you perceive the temptation to gamble. The hardest archetype for any trader to develop is the caregiver, self-compassion. Most traders believe that beating themselves up is the way to become a better trader. When I ask them when that has ever worked, they say, never. If you take a loss, you need to ask two questions. Was it a method mistake? I violated a rule. Was it a psychological mistake? I performed badly, but the system was fine. If neither applies, the loss is simply a matter of probability. It is a success in execution. It is the courageous acceptance of uncertainty. You must practice self-soothing, self-compassion. Don't let toxic shame convince you that you have a character flaw. You just have a competency that needs refinement. We have covered the fundamental secrets to trading psychology, secrets that transform a low success rate to much higher results for those who commit to this work. You now understand the fatal flaw of your primitive brain, the need to shift focus from winning and losing to flawless execution, and the non-negotiable tools of emotional regulation, from diaphragmatic breathing to waking up the CEO observer of your mind. Your journey to market mastery is not about an indicator upgrade. It's a battle of attrition against your own instinct. You must maintain the mind you build. As Thomas Jefferson wisely said, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Mastery is not an arrival. It's a daily choice. Go beyond your fears, beyond your greeds, and lead from discipline, impartiality, and patience. The reward is not just capital, it is the freedom of becoming a better, more empowered human being. If you found value in this deep dive into performance mastery, like this video to help others find this essential knowledge. Share this script with a trader you know is struggling, and subscribe right now to join a community of strategists committed to the real work of self-mastery. Check the description below for links to further resources. Until next time, take care and may your discipline be your edge.